So welcome, dear audience, to this panel about the green transition. As William is saying, the growth agenda for Europe has got two key dimensions, digital and green. And to frame the stage, and before welcoming our panelists, let's remember what are the goals that ourselves, as Europeans, we are giving ourselves for 2030. Three goals that we have to remember in terms of numbers. That by 2030, there will be 55% less CO2 emissions compared to 1990. That's a jump compared to the 40% that we all gave ourselves like a couple of years ago. So we are being, as an economy, very blunt and showing the path vis-a-vis the other economies in the world. The second number is the renewables. How much renewables will be deployed as far as technology is concerned across generation installed capacity. So the number was 32. Now the discussions that normally this year, the Parliament, the Commission, the Council will go for 38 or for 40 deployment of renewables by 2030. That is massive. And the third number is about energy efficiency. That is 32%. Again, key numbers that are, numbers that might not ring a bell to many, but in terms of growth, competitiveness and jobs is the growth drivers for the European economy, which is good news. We need all jobs and we need to have a vector of growth for the next decades. Remember also that Europe is ahead of the pack. So after COP15 in Paris, then the US just joined the party and they pledge carbon neutrality by 2050, China 2060, Japan 2050. So everybody is following suit. And that's good news for the planet. Today, we have gathered around this called panel of three speakers. Anna from Sonai. Sonai is a long-term industrial player in Europe, born out of Portugal, and with many successes along their history. Then Abel, that is an entrepreneur that is going to make our industrial and room temperature as it should at a lower cost, thanks to their innovations in HVAC. And Angel Lopez from City of Barcelona to make our cities much more livable, much more greener, near zero, and a better place to live. Because at the end, is more and more concentration around cities. So we have prepared three guiding questions, and we have requested our panelists to be very exemplary, so that the audience can check what themselves as not only their own companies, but members of different EIT community, EITs, manufacturing, climate, and urban mobility, they have done in the past. Then what are the key success factors about being inside the EIT community? This is a powerhouse of innovation in Europe. And finally, what are the opportunities that they see thanks to the Next Generation EU and the Resilience and Recovery Package? So I will start with Anna, ladies first. Anna, if you can share with us some examples of how Sonai within EIT manufacturing is contributing to this dream of having a Europe that is by 2030 with those numbers. Anna, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Diego, for having me in this panel, for inviting me. Yes, I'll share some examples with you all, because I believe that they make things more concrete in terms of what we're doing when it comes to looking into fostering sustainability in European industries. And we really do believe that we can foster this sustainability and this greener transition through collaboration and through innovation, and within the umbrella of EIT, and specifically in our case, within the umbrella of EIT manufacturing, we've been exploring some paths. So just to give you some examples, for example, we're working in challenges. So as you rightly said, we are a large company, so we bring the perspective of the business challenges, and we bring the perspective of the end user that is looking for scalable solutions that can address some of the issues that we are facing when it comes to transforming manufacturing processes. So for example, we're looking very much into two main areas: food processing and retail, and the area of manufacturing. And here, for example, we've been developing and driving forward solutions with many other partners, for example, to improve quality inspection, make sure that it's faster, that it's more accurate. This also relates to testing and developing non-destructive methods. So this also helps, for example, reduce the wastage of food that happens within industries nowadays to really also do that quality checking. Looking into, for example, improving the utilization of resources, namely energy, and some of these processes are they're heavy on energy consumption, and also, for example, looking from a supply chain perspective in terms of efficiency. So also sharing data, sharing forecasting to make sure that when it comes to moving goods from one place to the other, that we also have more efficiency and more sustainability in terms of doing that. And then this is more or less, I would say the issues are more or less the same. For example, when we look at manufacturing also, the topic of predicting defects, so towards a zero defects manufacturing, improving again the use of resources. And here, for example, in our particular case, we have the use of raw materials such as wood, for example, so preventing the wastage of those resources that could be used to manufacture non-compliant products. So it's something that we're doing. How we're doing this? We're doing this through partnering. So, for example, we have there the names of the projects that we have been involved in, some of that we are leading, and that what we're trying to do is finding solutions that we can adapt, that we can scale, and that they help us better manage our operations, better manage the processes that we have, namely within the supply chains, and really gather positive impact for all of us.
Thank you, Anna. Very interesting. Again, this dual food and manufacturing. And now we go from an incumbent in terms of industrialization across the value chains, in those value chains, to a newcomer that is Abel, and that is going to make both our buildings, the industry and so on, cooler and with the right management of the energy for keeping us cool or hot. Abel, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Diego, for the introduction. Thanks for having me. Very interesting, Anna, what you mentioned. So happy to hear that we are all joining forces to push this forward. I think that is the main goal, or should be the main goal of this kind of events. From our side, yes, you're right. So we are more in the building part. So we are trying to push the goals for the reduction of CO2 emissions in buildings from the European Union. How is Abel really pushing this forward? We are a pure software solution that is focusing on the legacy of real estate, meaning, yes, it's true that we need to renovate, to do a lot in our more than 75% inefficient real estate stock that we have in Europe. But we have to start with something that can have an impact now and not in 20 years. So the mission was to develop the most scalable software solution, including sustainability and cost efficient, that can make those buildings as quickly as possible more efficient. Meaning, we take this mission and we put this in practice already. We have buildings all around Europe, also in other continents, even in New Zealand or in China. So I'm developing a pure software solution that we can put on top of the current infrastructure. And in less than 4 weeks, we are able to reduce up to 40% the energy consumption and CO2 emissions from the HVACs, from heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems. So meaning we are focusing on the legacy equipment. We can go tomorrow to a building, to a commercial building that have already something in place. And in less than 2-3 days, they can start already directly saving at least 20%. Our focus obviously is in different phases. So right now we are focusing around 30% of the portfolio that have already what is called a building automation system or a building management system. And then making also those accounts to believe again that this possible to do it fast with no risk, with no investment, and then work with our partners and of course all the ecosystem from EIT. I hope that will grow more in the next years. To achieve together the goal. So meaning in the meantime, we can renovate, we can improve building efficiency, but we can have an impact in the next 5 years and not have to wait again 20 years, because I think we don't have this time to really take this. Yeah.
Thank you, Abel. I think that your value proposition of not having to change the hardware, but just to put a layer on top of the existing infrastructure to make those savings in so short time is definitely a unique selling proposition. So let's see now if Angel, in all the buildings that City of Barcelona is owning, will potentially become a customer or an off-taker of your HVAC. Angel, over to you. You can share with us some examples.
Thank you very much. Yes, in particular, in the EIT urban mobility, it's clear that cities has an important role. Maybe it's the only case where a local administration, not an industry or academy, are involved in there. But indeed, the role of cities is fundamental in defining urban mobility projects to guide innovation towards products and services that are really useful for individual citizens, but in turn will be convenient for the environment of cities to be better and more livable. We have several examples around improvement of connected but congested traffic, fostering bicycles services, managing crowded spaces as the tourism demand increase, or designing better public spaces to have a livable public realm, as the tactic urbanists we have tried to implement in this 2020 year. But probably the promotion of public transport, mass transport, or shared transport is one of the main assets that a city must play. As is for that, as the City Club, we try to convince and guide to the EIT urban mobility to apply the innovation to a target where more people with less impact, so a greener city, we can achieve. As you can realize, the COVID-19 pandemic showed us how fragile is the policies to promote public transport. At some time, you can remember in this period, the use of public transport decreased up to 20%, but while the private transport remain at 60%, it depends on the cities, but it's clear that public transport is decreased quickly by this fear of the pandemic, of the impact of the coronavirus. But fortunately, the EIT on summer 2020 convened the COVID-19 programs in urban mobility, and that allowed us to test and demonstrate at least two products in less than 6 months, two products to demonstrate the effectiveness of these products on the public transport, also in shared mobility like electric share motorbikes, are also in shared bikes in the metro line, in the bus services, and that's could guarantee a virus-free environment and combines users to use public transport. Like in a supermarket, the risk is more equal to when you go to the supermarket. So it's not a direct effect on the green, clearly, because this is more, maybe you consider that this is an EIT health, but probably with the synergies between health and urban mobility, we can look for a more ecosystem where we achieve green deals, but using the health as a path to improve the fare of the users to the public transport, because public transport or shared mobility will be the keys for the future urban mobility and to achieve this Green Deal. In short, and to finalize, local authorities drives the real needs of citizens. In this pandemic period, the real needs was to be comfortable in the public transport. And that is to achieve cities that are more respectful with the environment and with a better quality of life.
Thank you, Angel. Do you think, Angel, that this push of the scooters, the e-bikes, blah, blah, in the cities because of the pandemic and not sharing close spaces with other citizens has been a boost for something that will remain, or is just a peak, a hockey stick, and then it will disappear and people will go back to the old behaviors?
No, I think is a new paradigm in the mobility. We will need to recover the amount of the mass transport, the mass transit. We will recover that, at least in Barcelona, with these applied technologies. We hope, we guess, to achieve at least the 90% of the transport mode in 19. But this is clear that these individual vehicles, like small scooters, like bicycles, like electric bicycles, and so on, will be increased and probably will change the face of our cities. In this period, for example, in this working on the space, we have developed a lot of bike lanes, for example, but bike lanes are useful also for these scooters. Also the improvement of accessibility that allows these small vehicles to be used. So a change is coming, not a drastically change, but these new individual mobility patterns will remain. Also, we will talk after about the commerce and the deliveries. That another a very important change in urban mobility.
Totally, Angel. So it is here to stay. So now we'll ask the panelists to highlight two things that makes the EIT community unique in terms of growth, in terms of scaling up, in terms of ecosystem. So the two top that for you have been the most important for the development of your startup or your big industry or your city, the top two. So Anna?
Well, as top two, I would say probably an opportunity to work on finding some of these solutions. So combining data, combining artificial intelligence, combining emergent technologies, robotics, etc., artificial vision, and also bringing different competencies to do very focused projects. I think that this is probably the main difference from other running programs. We are talking about very focused projects where we can really bring a number of complementary skills to then drive and validate new solutions. So I would say that one is the ability to do these focused projects, and the second one is the ability to continue bridging the gap between what is the research space, the technology space, and then let's say the real industry concept, because we know, or cortex, because we know that there's probably where things need to combine. So we have this hypothesis, this promise of a new solution, and then we have to find ways to promote the gathering of this technology within a specific use case and validate it within that specific use case. And I think that the EIT community does that very, very well.
Thanks a lot, Anna, because I think that this is one of the key differentiators of the EIT community. We are all objective and use case based. It's not about exploratory, it's about bring a solution to something special. And second, to bring all the competencies that are required for this case. So thanks a lot, because those top two is really what makes one of the things that makes the EIT outstanding. So Abel?
Yeah, I think I completely agree with Anna. I pick up on you. It was a really, it's true. So for us, I mean, I guess it was a different level for us when I started. Actually, we participate in the Climate Kick Accelerator. We were there in the 3 stages. So from 1 to 3, we are one of the few that go through the whole 1 year and a half, actually, 18 months program. And they helped us to do exactly that. We didn't even have some kind of business model when we entered the program. And thanks to the network of experts and the workshops and the possibility also to generate trust, because you have like EIT Climate Kick in your back, like validating somehow that your technology makes sense, and someone has to be brave to test it. So they believe on us. They see the potential before we went into the market. They help us to build the business cases, the use cases actually, and then thanks to that, then scale it and grow it until what we are doing right now. So,
and can you share with us, Abel, on the scaling up? Because again, to curate the case is important. Yeah. And then the scale up with people like Sonai, it's easy because basically they have their own commercial networks. But for a startup, which kind of support you got in scaling up, in growing?
Yeah, a very important point, especially me, for example, that my background is as an engineer. You have some kind of economy part, but you are not like an MBA. So you need someone that can build the business framework around your technology. And that was the key point for me. So bringing it to be able to go to the first pilot projects and be able to professionalize and standardize the process.
Thank you, Abel. And Angel, the top two for you? The top two that the EIT community brings that you wouldn't find elsewhere? No.
Well, first of all, I want to remark that this scheme of the EIT around the business model, around the growing of the companies, about the innovation, with this very short cycle of the projects, the time of the project is very, very, very short. For us, for cities, is a bit shocking. We are used to plan...
Positively or negatively shocking?
We need to get the positive things and manage the negative things, okay? For us, we are used to plan, to have several years project. For example, these are the Horizon Europe or the Horizon 2020 are more accommodate for us. We have a time to thought, a time to plan, a time to execute, a time to evaluate. Here, no, we have the opportunity to test, and we test and we reach the results. So that is, I don't know if this is positive or negative, but that means a change on the way that cities can incorporate the innovation. Obviously, we have some departments with managing accelerator of startups, but usually are not connected to the traditional departments as the Department of Urban Mobility. So some changes is provoked in indoor. Okay. Another important thing is that has needed in the City Club. I am the chairman of the City Club. I am very honored to be there because on the cities involved in the EIT urban mobility, we are trying to be able to be prepared to have living lab networks in the Europe as any product, any service that can appear in the north of Europe can have a place to be tested quickly. So maybe this product is not able to be tested on winter on Norway, but can be tested in Malaga or in Barcelona in winter, and that rechecked in Germany. So an opportunity, an advantage, a positive thing is we are creating this network of living labs where each living lab has a characteristic, and every startup can look for this list of living labs as only one entity and choose where they will be better to test the product or the service. So,
okay, so it's like the one-stop shop for any of the innovators, so they can find the best off-taker.
One place market,
one place market. And second one, you said in the beginning, for me, it's very important, is the speed. Innovators, we need speed to make things, to check things and to make them.
Sometimes the speed is not the best way to innovate, but it's the best way to know if you are wrong or you are right. So you can rectify quickly. It's another way to do things.
Another question I will put you afterwards, Angel, is the power that you have in the cities with public procurement. You have something that you can drive the type of product that you want to purchase for your own needs, that is a tremendous force. It's not to supply euros, it's demand euros. So think about the question, and then afterwards you answer the question. And then one question from the three of you that is about the famous Next Generation EU and the Resilience and Recovery Package. So today we're already 1 year after the whole idea was launched. Now it seems that it's coming to reality in terms of all the countries have delivered their national recovery and resilience plans. So now it's going to be about implementation. So what is, a couple of comments from your side, whether that will be helping innovation to be brought up, whether you feel that will be pretty much traditional old economy. How do you feel about the Next Generation EU and what it could be the role of the EIT? So Anna?
So we definitely see that as helping, let's say, as another instrument, because I totally agree with Angel. So we have probably business challenges and innovation opportunities that have a space or that have a fit within the EIT model, and others that have not. For example, so I totally agree with what Angel was saying between the speed and the time. So I think that's there are challenges that we bring to the EIT and challenges that we bring not, that we take to Horizon 2020 or Horizon Europe, for example, and some that we will probably also take to this new opportunity. So definitely what we believe is that anything that helps businesses, SMEs, startups, research entities come together and find new solutions, I think that they are helpful. Then, of course, the devil is always in the details, but let's wait and see. And again, because we also believe that many of these opportunities will continue to drive sustainable solutions or solutions that help businesses, cities, also even the researching that we do, that they help drive sustainability, and that's the way forward. So,
but I would like to provoke you, Anna, because we know that 37% of all the next generation funds should go to clean or green related solutions. 37% of 750 billion, that's a lot of money. Do we have enough deal flow, enough pipeline of good cases to deploy 37% of those monies into this pipeline?
Oh, for sure. Yep. Because what we see when it's interesting, because when we talk about green transition, when we talk about sustainability, the topic is so vast.
No.
And we have things like, for example, the solution that Abel was presenting. So you have challenges within efficiency of buildings, whether offices or whether production plants. They are transversal. You can go from food to textiles, from textiles to wood panels, from there to chemicals, and you have common challenges, and then you have, let's say, they're like T-shaped. So you have the common things, and then you have the specific things. And within that scope, there are a number of use cases that really need to be tackled, and we need to find together. We need to find new solutions. So, for example, let me give you an example. When we talk about CO2 emissions and climate change, I mean, where to start? Where to start? From what we generate in processes, what we generate within the supply chains, what is the footprint of a specific product, independent of if it is a box of mangoes or something else. So challenges, they are abundant. I don't see there an issue with supply of use cases. Definitely not.
Thank you, Anna. Abel, how do you see the Next Generation EU contributing to your case, to the growth of Abel?
Yeah, for our case, I think already some kind of a step in on that. So we are taking some kind of, maybe not now, but in the future, so some part of this, but to put on pragmatic way, the innovation, the R&D that we were making in the last 3-4 years. You know, you were asking about if we are able to deploy, if we are able to do it, right? I think I completely agree with Anna. Absolutely, yes. Maybe we need to be also more or able to filter it in a more pragmatic way. So yeah, it's true, it's a lot of money, but money could be spent very, very fast when you make R&D, especially for you want to do it for 5 years. And for me, it was always clear. I still really started the company with really few resources. Now we have a little bit more, so we are able to really push the company. So I would say, I think European Union or EIT is going in this direction, that you have 3 phases, different things. More focus on, we need a solution now. So let's invest more on solutions that can give results next year, instead of putting, at least in the beginning, a big budget in long-term products. So now is a moment to really take action and not anymore on investing on theoretical things.
Thank you, Abel. So last question before we go to the Q&A. So Angel, back to you on the public procurement. Why the question? Because as an innovator, supply side money is good, but the best thing for innovator is demand side money, so customer money. So what is your views on the force that you have as a cities to use public procurement as a driver to offtake of innovation?
Yeah, but also linking to the previous question on Horizon Europe, it's clear that a lot of traditional technology on this Green Deal is available. So we can procure with not special tenders. We can procure in the conventional way, and a lot of money will go there. At least for us, for example, in buying public service buses, or for example, buying some more electrified vehicles for the public services. We think a big part of the money on this digitalization and greener vehicles can be done quickly, only by a conventional procurement. But it's clear that an organization or a KIC as the EIT Urban Mobility can allow a faster way to make innovation in procurement. For example, we are doing some tendering, not buying vehicles, but buying services. That is new in the way we are doing that. Some years ago, we started with other kind of services, but that can be. But another thing is, what about new vehicles? For example, for buildings, for construction, there is a lot of pollution, a lot of particulates, a lot of noise coming from this machinery that is working in our cities. We guess to allow that the industry can have some synergies with cities, and we will have better and green vehicles also in this segment. Okay. Another very important segment I referred before is the deliveries or the distribution, where we are not the main drivers, but we are managing the situation. Vans or trucks are in hands of privates, and it's very difficult to convince them to share, to shift to greenest vehicles in the market. For example, EIT allows us to share with other cities. In this case, was Stockholm and Amsterdam and Barcelona, to share experience with zero emissions distribution. But zero emissions means zero noise, zero pollutants, zero CO2. And as more you interchange experience with other cities, you discover more why it is a problem. For example, we have tried from the beginning of the century, so 20 years ago, we try and we have a regulatory framework to allow distribution on night. So of peak distribution. But up to now, we are not tried to have zero emission night distribution.
Yeah.
And also, we look some very good experience in how to do this noiseless indoor the supermarket, for example. So to grow in the green Europe, you need to collaborate between cities, but also with the industry. So there's the three cases that demonstrate an instrument like the EIT we can share with the support of the industry, the support of the academy, and with the capacity of the industry, and sharing knowledge between together and together the cities.
Thank you, Angel, because I think that your examples is a showcase of why the EIT was created back in 2010 and has been successful is by putting academia, research, industry, public administration, innovators together, the community can bring those solutions fast forward into the market. Whereas before it was much more sequential, everything was not by community based. So just for the audience, Horizon Europe, all the thematics, as you know, 7 years is 90 billion euros. The public procurement in terms of energy of all the public administration in Europe, 1 year is 200 billion. Those 200 billion, they are already spent. It's not new money to be printed, already exists today, compared to in 7 years, the 90 billion of Horizon Europe. So we will be able to direct a bit of the public procurement towards pulling those green and digital. Hey, money is already there. It's not to be printed new, already is there. So we have okay, so now we have 6 minutes to go, and I will pick a couple of the chat questions. The first one goes to Anna from Michelle. And I'm gonna read this because it's not an easy one. Are the solutions to solve the contradiction between the highest speed of money rotation in automatized and robotized production and the slow one in the activities to extend the product's lifetime? So one thing is the product roadmap that is slow because you have a customer at the end, and then the speed upstream on the new. So how do you balance those two things?
Very interesting question and a tough one, definitely. So,
tough one, yeah.
So bridging supply and demand is, of course, for example, and when you look at many industries, but in the retail sector, for example, it's a key question. What we personally believe is that the development that we've seen in the last few years, namely in data science and in technologies that enable gathering that data in near real time, processing it, it is really helping make better decisions, and decisions in terms of all the production cycle. So of course, all of the, let's say, the purchases that you do to your suppliers. Also, and a key factor here, for example, in managing of stocks. So to make sure that you have, let's say, streamlined supply chains, and that so at the end that you are able to continuously feed up the business side, consumer facing. But then you also are generating the efficiency of the process, because if not, you have like overstocks or understocks, and that if it's over, you have the issue of waste, and if it's and also money, and if it's under, you also have the issue of the insatisfaction of consumers that want to buy and the product is not available. So it's balancing all of this, and really we see not only the power of these technologies, but also the power of collaboration and connectivity between businesses. So again, the issue of the value networks, which is an expression that we use at the EIT Manufacturing, and that I prefer best to value chain, to supply chains. Right? So making sure that we also share this knowledge and this this data that allows us, all of us together, to make better decisions. Of course, then you have the issue of innovation, and innovation means novelty. So it means that you have to be introducing new products in the market to also, of course, make it more attractive to consumers. But I think that's also where many of the industries are looking into. So how can we keep innovating and putting new products in the market, but in a way that we know that we're doing this from a sustainable perspective, and that we are, let's say, maximizing the lifetime of products. So I think it is combining all of them.
It's a balancing act. So we've got 3 minutes. We've got 3 minutes. I will ask each one of you one tool that the EIT should bring in the toolbox, because you have already identified why the EIT is bringing you so much value. Is there any tool in the toolbox of the EIT that you are missing that could make the EIT even better? One tool, whatever is more financing, more ecosystem, more whatever. So Angel?
Yeah, I think disruption can be the word that allows to innovate with a really risk to fail. If we follow the logic of the traditional logic of we will to satisfy the consumer's needs, or innovation can be short, can be a short life, but really we don't have a great advantage. So I think some risk to fail in the EIT must be considered. So I recover the what I say, that the opportunity to try, to test, to fail, to be wrong, and to redesign, to be quickly, to have a rapid prototyping. Okay. Yeah. But for that, we need to have the risk to fail, and to have a percentage of projects disrupting ideas and making something in different way.
Perfect. It's very clear.
That will be very difficult for cities. But
so it's very clear. Disruption, that means that the risk appetite to fail should be built into the system. Very clear. Abel?
I think I will try to go a little bit out of when I was in the program, one thing that was missing was more budget for marketing. You need to promote more tests. You have really a lot of useful tools already. Yeah. But people need to know that this kind of thing is there. And also promoting the partners and companies that are already in the partnership.
Very clear. So position and marketing. Very clear. Anna?
Well, I would probably say, specifically from our experience at EIT Manufacturing, the ability to capture to the network and to the projects solutions providers, technology providers, because I think that from the start of the EIT communities, it's very easy to engage with research centers. It's easy to engage with municipalities. It's easy to engage with industries, and then many times we have a concept of a solution that could tackle a specific use case, and then we don't have, let's say, the solution provider willing, of course, also with the needed resources to participate in this type of projects, probably also with the needed maturity. So also to participate, because it's, as Angel said, what is expected and is that then you have quick solutions that can scale. Yeah. So attracting those partners could also be very, very helpful, very beneficial for all.
Very clear message, Anna. So to complement the ecosystem of the value network, as you put it, with technology or solution providers. So nothing more for me to say, just to thank the panel. Extremely good contributions. I think that will be for the audience, a guiding compass, and also showing what the EIT community has brought to you. I will just keep three of the key messages that you brought. Number one, the EIT community is a one-stop shop for many things. Number two is driven by use cases or objectives, and that's extremely. And number three, speed. That is also absolutely needed in this world. So thanks a lot. We have consumed our 45 minutes. And now I hand over to the EIT. I think it's to Benny or who is managing the flow. Thank you.
Thank you, Diego. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
Angel.
Bye.
Oh, thank you, everyone. Ciao. Bye-bye.